built by the fallen ones. We will answer the call of the highest one, and that time is near. We are the children of the sun in this land, led by the fallen ones. We will answer the call of the highest one, and that time is now. I'm freer than I ever been. There's so much evil found in the hearts of men, but I'm freer than I ever been. Than I ever been. We are the children of the sun in this land, captured by fallen ones. We've been hidden, but finally time has come to reappear. And I won't fall for malicious lies. I'll take control over the power of mine, and my protection is of the highest kind. So I'm freer than I ever been.
Greetings and salutations. What's good? This is Talib. I am back. And you know what? I just came in tonight to drop a quick jewel because some of you may know me from Heavy Gems. Others of you may not. Some of you may know me only my voice, but never have seen my face. So there's my face. But no, seriously, I just came to share because the things that are happening right now, everything that's going on, these are things that if you go back and check out MREC TV's Heavy Gems, you could go in this playlist. You could go in my playlist on my channel. I took all my episodes, put them in a playlist for you. Please go there, show them some love. Tell them Talib from Heavy Gems sent you. Listen, I tried to not warn, but inform people of some of the upcoming things that were coming and that were happening, and some of the stuff that people should start bracing themselves for and becoming more aware of. But it's very interesting because I listen to a gentleman named Chase Hughes. This guy's he's into all types of hypnotic modalities. And when he's telling you about certain things, he understands what a psyop is. You're not understanding what a psyop is because you're not understanding the crucial components, the three elements. You have to have authority. You must, and must be authority. And that authority comes with environment, right? Scripting the environment. It comes in special clothes. It comes in music. It comes in all of these things are used when establishing authority over individual podiums and stands and stages. All of that's part of it, right? The second part is the doctrine, paradigm, or translogic. The doctrine is like the Bible, or when you go to school and you get the math book. That's doctrine, right? And that's you live by that because you believe that this thing tells you the holy God truth. So that's basically what that is. And then you have a paradigm, and that's where you hear these guys, they tell you a story, they give you data, information, and they relate to you, and it becomes something that satisfies your reason, your need for reason and logic. That's what it must do. It must satisfy your need for reason and logic. So if they give you something that doesn't satisfy that, you're not going to take it, right? And the third is translogic, and basically that's just bullshit. Now, I've said all this before, but I'm just running through it because I got another video from my man Chase Hughes. Chase, you ever watch these? Please let me talk to you. But I wanted to show that because it covers some of these elements. Once again, we're seeing things put in action. I warned everyone informed everyone about AI, tried to teach people some AI, tried to inform people what was coming down the pipeline. No one really listened, but I understand why now that I've gotten even deeper into my studies and more understanding is coming on me. I already know why they don't listen, but I was sort of naive in my intention. But now that I've matured in that aspect of myself, I understand it, right? But I wanted to share with you because here's someone who at some degree has probably spoken or dealt with some of the people that are involved with this to one degree or another. Not to say he was dealing with the people at the top of it, but he definitely has dealt with either their cronies or people that are trying to get close to them, beneath them, certain corporations and companies that he's giving these tactics and intelligence to. So we're going to check out this video from Chase Hughes. I'll get back to you. We'll look at a little of it. It's not a very long video, and then I'm going to call it a night. I don't want to keep you all night. I just want to come on here, share some information so I can come back tomorrow fresh, ready to go. Here we go.
Arriving just preloaded with villains, emotions, branding, and solutions. Like the argument was decided.
I'll bring it back to the beginning, y'all.
Or prepackaged before anybody noticed it. I don't think that's random. It's 2026, and if the last few years have felt less like chaos and more like something kind of quietly locking into place, you're not imagining that. If you notice that events keep arriving just preloaded with villains, emotions, branding, and solutions, like the argument was decided or prepackaged before anybody noticed it, I don't think that's random. So I'm not here to speculate or theorize or raise questions. I am here to show you why 2026 is going to be predictable. Let me be clear about what this is and what it isn't. This is not a timeline or a prophecy, and it's definitely not a list of things that might happen. So instead of asking what year something happens, the better question is, What does a system like this always do next? So keep in mind, these are opinion only, and they're not stated in any way that's asserting facts or accusations. So prediction number one, increased conflict with China. And it's not going to be through open war. It's going to be through pressure. China does not need to escalate anything. It just needs friction. Some delays in shipping, energy constraints, currency pressure, cyber disruptions. Each one's going to be small, but together they create a constant background stress. It won't be called aggression. The goal is just compliance with changing conditions. Number two, AI will replace a large percentage of artists. Music and writing, illustration, voiceover work, video. It's cheaper, faster, and
this is what I shared with people. They laughed. They told me, "Oh, well, it's not going to happen. AI will never." This AI started making some things, and people laughed and thought it was funny. And now look, you got things like Luma Labs with Ray 3 and Dream Labs and these things that could just take your shot and put a whole background and change your whole outfit. This is coming. It's here now, right? Hundreds of thousands of people are being laid off because of AI, and it's not starting at the just like the blue collar workers. This white, I told people it was going to be their entry level jobs. All these coders and all these people going to school trying to learn this stuff, you are in trouble unless you're willing to step outside of the comfort zone, do some self reprogramming, and take those skills and apply them to your own well-being. If you're trying to sell those skills to someone else so you could work for them for in exchange for your security, that is done. Get ready for basic universal basic income. It's not even the first time they've done something like that. So that's down the pipe. But I'm going to get back to this because this is all very crucial.
And endlessly compliant with humans. So for a very long time, creativity was the last place that humans felt irreplaceable. Even when jobs were automated, art still felt really personal to us, and that's gone. So number three,
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded.
the loneliness epidemic is going to accelerate. It's going to be very quiet.
Now, I don't agree with this epidemic's going to be quiet with loneliness, because this game and this vicious psyop that they have on men and women hating each other and saying they can't find anybody when there's millions and or billions of men and women on the planet is insane, right? Because they understand our psychology. They understand that you distort reality. Whenever you take light in, when it goes into your inner space, that information is now distorted. It's distorted by your perception of reality. It's completely distorted. Then you begin to delete, and that deletion is omission, and that omission is cognitive dissonance. And then from that cognitive dissonance, under that we got generalization. You generalize everything, right? And they teach us because they take complex framework of human interaction and they simplify it into very simple moral frameworks. Good, evil, right? They are evil, they're bad. There's more to that than that, right? That's because that's a part of the tribalism, and that's because you need to do something with that anxiety, that fear, that energy, and it's coming from them, and they got to redirect it to another target, or else you're going to seek them out. So let's keep going, because I'm telling you, loneliness is something that's been happening a long time. There was a lot of loneliness in the 80s, but they tell you to suck it up and keep walking. But today, they put attention on things because it's a part of our social engineering. They're constructing us. Our music is changed so dramatically. Hip hop has changed so dramatically. Hip hop used to be a very masculine thing, but not to say there's anything wrong with any other kind of people, but hip hop was a masculine thing. Hip hop used to be very masculine, but now it isn't masculine anymore. Matter of fact, hip hop is going into a place where it's very depressed and sad, right? Because they don't need strong, competent men. They don't. The prison systems is changing. Things are changing. Things they invested their money in is changing, right? So this lonely epidemic is definitely on the rise. We don't see it in a certain way, especially in men, because men have other activities. Men sink themselves into certain activities and they group up in those activities. But that's only postponing or putting a band-aid over a much bigger systemic issue.
And most people assume loneliness comes from isolation. And that's not quite right. Loneliness comes from friction. Human interaction carries more friction than it used to. Every conversation feels a lot heavier. And politics are leaking into everything. One wrong sentence can turn just a normal conversation between people into a big problem. And you're going to see this show up everywhere. There's going to be fewer close friendships. There's going to be more surface level only interaction. Loneliness doesn't just make people sad, it makes us hyper suggestible. So loneliness is not some side effect of what's coming. It is one of the conditions that allows everything else to work. So number 4, AI becomes a primary interface for mental health. Probably by spring of 2026, more people are going to talk to AI about their inner life and their mental state than they will to therapists. And that's already true in small numbers, but it's not going to stay small. It's always available. It's cheaper. It listens without interrupting. It has access to more data. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't try to check its Instagram while you're talking on the couch. And for somebody who's already lonely, that matters a lot. And for a lot of people, it's going to help, at least enough to keep using it a little bit. But that's where the conflict is going to start. Who owns the data? Who decides what advice is appropriate to give to people? And then what happens when guidance crosses into influence? And that's the 4th pressure point here. So moving on to number 5, there's going to be an explosion of artificial content, video, audio, documents, screenshots, entire events that never really took place. I would assume by the summer of 2026, the volume will be high enough that authenticity becomes really hard to prove in.
That has already begun. That's already begun. And I have personally had several people approach me thinking and showing me something that was clearly not a real thing. And they were completely convinced, right? When the 3i Atlas was around, supposedly, or wherever that was what that was all about. When that was around, you had to realize what was going on, right? All of a sudden, AI videos was popping up everywhere about 3i Atlas and fake scientists giving false narratives and information all the way to the point people couldn't believe anything. It's already begun. And I think what he's talking about is a grander AI psyop, maybe not one coming from viral corporations that's trying to pitch ideas and propaganda into our psyches. I think it'll be something, I know it's going to be something way more devastating than that. So I've tried to warn everyone about this AI, and here's the thing, it's too late. You can't inform people now because it's too late. There's no turning back. There's no, first of all, if we all wake up and decide to do something, right, collectively, then that's where we are, right? Because there is no turning back, right? It's no turning back. We have to move forward at this point, right? And we're not going to cut AI off. It's not going to happen that way. Matter, you're about to see transhumanism actually beginning in its, and not, it was in its infancy stages, right? And that infancy stage was your cell phone and these gadgets that stick to us and monitor us and help us in our daily lives, right? That was the infancy stage, but now they're into that mass stage of level 1. They're going to integrate this, right? See, you won't have cell phone. Listen to me and go. It's not the prediction. I'm not predicting anything. I'm telling you what's about to happen. Cell phones will become obsolete. They're going to be traded in for wearables. Why do you think they're spending all this money on VR? It's not about VR. It's about AR. and augmented reality. And that's going to get into your neural link. But before they could actually put a chip in you to interact, it's going to go in your skin. Because guess what, guys? You have nerves running all through your body, all over your skin, in your muscles. And they're all translating information to the main warehouse, all of it. Well, one of the main warehouses. You have two stomachs, guys. There's so much going on in your stomach that there's a whole another neurological gaggle that exists that just processes the whole digestive process and everything going on down there. That's two different. That's why they say trust your gut. Yeah, because it's an actual brain down there. And they never even told us that. So the AI is definitely on the route. As far as the therapy is concerned, you could be sure that people are already using things like Chat GPT for therapy. We've already had cases and incidents where people were seriously injured by the advice that the machine gave them. And that's not, and I keep telling people, that's not artificial intelligence. That's just a large language model within the compound or the structure of what you're calling artificial intelligence is not one thing. It's a compilation of many compartmentalized pieces of technology that operate together. And you see, and real artificial intelligence is self-aware. They don't write. You have to understand, everybody, AI is artificial intelligence. I'm going to help you now with your definition, and you will never look at it the same. Stop calling it artificial intelligence and start calling it self-writing software. And when you begin to take that apart, you'd be like, oh, wait, isn't that what I do? I learn something, I observe it, I experience it. I run extensive tests. We call it practice, right? We run it over and over and over again until we get it. And then we perform it whenever we need it on call, like a program, opening an app and using it. Same thing. These people ain't inventing nothing. Everything they got comes from the very elements all around us. So I'm going to get back to this.
In real life. And that will absolutely change human behavior, because once anything can be faked, everything can be denied. A compromising video comes up, it's AI. An audio recording gets leaked out, it's a deep fake. Documents and evidence start to appear, it's generated somehow. When the world is just saturated with synthetic material, the burden of proof is going to flip backwards.
Can you be a travel advisor without quitting your 9-to-5? Actually, yes. We're Fora, the modern travel agency.
It's going to feel like a lot of confusion, and then we'll kind of unplug because it's just too much. And confusion is incredibly useful if you study human behavior, because when people cannot tell what's real, they fall back on something a lot easier. And this is tribe, authority, and familiar narratives.
Here's the thing, guys. It's not just confusion. It's not just confusion. Understand? And that's how they get you. See, confusion really is an overload. And what it's really saying when you get confused is it causes a disorganization of your inhibitory system, your ability to organize. Once you lose the ability to organize, that triggers you. That sends you to fight or flight or freeze, but primarily fight or flight in this example. From that fight or flight state, you enter into a highly suggestible state. Okay? That hypersuggestible state grants access to the subconscious. Okay? And when that happens, then a suggestion can come in and it has the greatest possibility of sticking and becoming something. And when you understand that, then you can get back and look at how they overload you, disorganize you, trigger you, cause hypersuggestibility, and then access you and put information in, and you wonder why you're walking around. Notice if you get triggered before you understand what's actually happening or after.
And that's the fifth pressure point. Number 6, there will be an event that encourages isolation. So something's going to happen that makes isolation feel like a sensible option. And I don't think it's going to be mandatory or enforced. I just think that's going to be reasonable. Most people are not going to feel pushed into isolation. They're going to feel relieved.
When we first went into the big C, we wasn't forced. They told us it was going to be 2 weeks. Everything's okay. Just go home, take it as a vacation. We're going to figure out the finances, make sure everybody's okay. And by that evening, they already had mats on the floor telling you to stand 6 feet. You like, what is this? Before you even knew about the distancing, they already had the product on the ground. Okay, there's definitely something headed our way. You could not believe it if you want to, right? It doesn't require your belief. And that's what you have to understand. It does not require you to believe it. It doesn't need you to believe it. Okay? And that's what you have to understand. What all it needs for you to do is nothing. It's going to do what it's going to do. It just needs for your attention to be in any emotional or energetic direction that is provided you. I go there. All this stuff everybody talk, it's all old. It's all old. Like ban poison in the water. That's old news. That's old. That's old. If it's so poisonous, how you not dead? Think about that. How come everybody ain't dead? Everybody's sick, but they still alive. People dying all the time, but you alive? Something's not adding up on their stories. Okay, they do poison everybody. It's a like I said, we look in one area and we think, okay, remember, we generalize. This must be why all of this is happening, and it's not. It's a compartmentalized, very structured system that has many different programs, operations with agents over those programs, with sub programs running within those.
By this, a lot of people are already tired of navigating other people. So when distance is presented as a virtue, it's going to feel like permission to do what you want to do anyway. And because it isn't called isolation, people aren't going to treat it the same way that happened during COVID. They're going to call it something else. And that's the 6th pressure point. Number 7, psychological operations become visible this year. They're not going to disappear. They're going to get a lot more obvious, and you're going to hear it more often. This feels staged. This doesn't feel organic. This looks like a setup. And that creates a problem for influence, because influence, as you probably know, works the best when people don't notice it. So influence is going to be a lot less about persuasion and more about environment. So instead of convincing people what to think, systems are going to shape what's available to think with. So what content shows up, what gets buried, what feels normal to say out loud. And that is the 7th pressure point. Number 8, psychedelics moving into the mainstream as repairing meaning for people. So you're going to see a lot wider adoption of psychedelics as
I believe you will see it even wider, but just know that microdosing mushrooms have been approved by psychiatrists, been approved by medical professionals. You can legally microdose now, right? This all started back in the 90s, this whole conscious movement, this whole awareness awakening. All of this started then. It's been a way to access our minds, to not actually teach us how to control it, but how to become more suggestible through association and repetition. That's the law of association and the law of repetition. I will say it again, the law of association and the law of repetition. These two laws are work in tandem when you want to condition somebody to kinesthetically respond to your command or your suggestion.
Repair. So when people lose all this creative identity, they lose connection with other people, they lose trust in the narratives, and they stop feeling grounded in their own experience. They're going to look for something that resets their perspective. Psychedelics do that. They've been used for 4,000 years, or probably way more. But what's new is the context. So mid-2026, a lot of people are not going to be asking, how do I become more successful? How do I succeed? They're going to be asking, how can I feel human again? And that's the 8th pressure point. So what is all this actually about? 8 separate little predictions. Those are not separate. They're 8 expressions of the exact same condition. And that condition is a system under pressure, behaving predictably. So when geopolitics tighten up, pressure is going to replace the confrontation, just the pressure. When technology speeds up like crazy, identity starts being displaced. If our connection to other people erodes, people become way more suggestible, easier to steer, to manipulate. When the truth gets really noisy or surrounded by...
This is a tactic that they practiced with reality television. I worked in TV for many years. I worked on many shows, and I can tell you for a fact, they practiced and honed this technique through reality TV. See, we during the Big C, they did to us what they do on reality in the reality or in, let's just say in the film business, is what they call sequestering. And sequestering essentially to take you away from everyone and put you in the room, take your phone away, you have the basic things, but they don't let you really outside communicate because they want your feelings, emotions to build up. And what will happen is producers will come into that room and they will pretend to be other people sometimes. This is not on every show. There are several different tactics, but I'm just sharing one of them. They'll come in there and they will come in there and they will pretend to be somebody else, like a PA or somebody like that. And they'll go in, or an assistant, and they'll tell them some really, off-putting stuff about, let's say, the other person, right? And then they leave them to their devices, right? They let them get built up and, but nobody talks to them. You're not allowed to talk. We have to sign NDAs. You speak to these people. You tell these people anything other than go this way, walk this way, come with me, this, that, and the third. You are fired and we will sue you. Okay? That is a fact. All right. Why? Because they want to build up as much raw emotion as they can in them. In some instances, if it's one of them type of shows where these people indulge in, extracurricular activities, they will allow them to get intoxicated, right? Or to get, hammered in a sense, but not hammered. Well, nice, right? To a controllable point where they are literally intoxicated, but they at that point where they're not unreasonable. Right. So what they do with that then is once they get you like that, they feed you that story, boom, you don't talk to nobody, they take you to the set, you joke, boom, boom, you don't see nobody, you get out, only PAs, only other people, like people walking around, producers, assistants, they get you, they sit you, cameras on you, lights is on you now, boom, and they sit you in front of that person and they tell you, you got your basic understanding because they don't script this stuff out, right? It's scripted by the producer who set up the event, right? And wants to see these people react a certain way. So they basically write the script in the sense of how are we going to get these people to this point? Okay. And when those people get to that point, what do? And they flip out and they go off on each other. Right. And all those little scenes where you see them talking, they get them early on and then they catch after that. And then they have to coach. That's where the coach will come in. Now they're coachable. You see what I'm saying? And they may say, hey, won't you say it like this? Or just use this phrase for me. It means the same thing you're saying, but just say it this way. It comes across better. And they use that same technique on us. And they did it then. You get isolated, you get fed false information, you sequester to yourself, and then you're put into a situation and it's go. And that's how they set us up. So when you watching the news and you watching these other things, understand this. Remember, if you even think for 2 seconds, you be like, wait, don't they have technologies everywhere? You watch everybody, or they work with all of the corporations and companies and food companies and phone companies and electric companies and TV companies. They have eyes everywhere. And if you know they watching American citizens, you know that the NSA and Homeland and them is watching people. You must understand that some of this stuff you see in the street that they're putting on the news and showing you these people are doing, they're fully aware of it. And that means they're capable of doing something about it, but they haven't. They chose not to. They incited it because there is a controlled response that's on its way that they want us to have. And it will be to a situation that we didn't see coming because we were being given a sleight of hand and misdirection. And we were given suggestions and subtle hints and moved and pushed so that we could participate when it comes.
Noise, authority always fills that gap. We know this from history. If truth gets super fuzzy and noisy, authority fills the gap. When proximity to other people feels costly or expensive socially, distance becomes desirable or even reasonable. If influence becomes clear for everybody to see, it shifts into the background because it's just normalized. And when meaning, the actual feeling of meaning, collapses faster than systems can adapt, people are going to look for ways to reset their perspective. And there's only two things that all of this requires to take place. Number one is incentives, and number two is human nature. You don't need coordination at the top. So what's coming in 26 isn't about the control in the cartoon sense of the word. It's about adaptation and forcing people to adapt to something new. It's about systems adjusting to instability and people adjusting to those systems. And that's also why recognizing the pattern truly matters. Once you can see the pressures, you stop reacting to every event like it's isolated. What's being normalized here? What's becoming frictionless? So until then, I just want you to notice one thing. When something new shows up, ask yourself, does it feel like a solution or does it feel like an adjustment? And once you can tell the difference, the future stops feeling overwhelming and it starts making sense. Thank you for hanging out with me for a few minutes, and I hope you're
Peace. That was powerful. I wanted to share that. I wanted to just give y'all an opportunity to understand that there is a psychological operation happening. There's a shift happening. There are many hands at play right now as far as what is happening in the world, but mostly, when you look at what's going on with us here in America, we got a serious retuning coming our way. And the sad part is that we're so self-absorbed by our self-interest and our lack of being able to fulfill desires that are expectations that sometimes are rather unreasonable based on our reality. We're not looking at what's actually happening. And then the propaganda constantly coming our way. And then you have all of these people out here now that are basically telling you what to think with limited information, but confidence that goes beyond all comprehension. And so they'll sit there and tell you things and bark at you and gaslight you and show psychopathic tendencies just so they can defend their cognitive bias, because they don't realize that their field of perception is distorted. Everyone's field of perception is distorted. Okay, that's what we have to remember. We naturally have a distorted field of perception. It's just naturally that way because we were young. You heard certain things. If you went through certain things, you took that in, and that became a filter, that dictates and creates what you're perceiving of reality. And everything that isn't in that filter gets omitted out of reality to you. It doesn't even exist. You won't see it. Excuse me. I hit something on the side of me. You won't even see it. But I just wanted to bring that video. I'm going to say thank you for coming. I'll be here tomorrow. You know, we hit 100 subscribers, so I want to thank you all for subscribing and coming. And what I want to do is leave a like, please share, and also if you could just leave a comment. And if you guys are ready, just let me know, and I'm gonna start reading the prequel to you guys. We can start reading it, or I could go ahead and set it up and have it maybe a nice British voice read it for us and stuff like that, and we can talk about the prequel. And if you like it, that'd be great. Maybe you could check out the book. So once again, my name is Talib. I want to thank you for joining me this evening, and I'll see you on the next one.